Programmatic TV at Paramount is really the way that we bring our streaming assets to market. So we distribute across free, pay, and premium. So we have premium SVOD, a fast service with Pluto TV, and then all of our pay TV channels, like all of our extensions of our TV networks into digital. And we bring that all to market in automated fashion. So buyers can buy private marketplace, programmatic guaranteed, and then we do participate in some group deals where we're sold along with other publishers.
So, I mean, there's the notion of programmatic, then sort of what we've talked about, what a lot of people have talked about at Cannes this year. You guys had a big announcement in terms of sort of clean rooms. There's this desire for interoperability amongst using first-party data, various assets. And then there's kind of the challenge of the multi-currency transition. These are complicated things. Programmatic in and of itself can be complicated. So how does your team do its job at the intersection of all these things?
It takes a lot of coordination, absolutely. I think we think the world is headed towards impressions-based transactions, and I think digital is already there and has always been there. I think the TV business, we work closely with our advanced advertising team to make sure we have a playbook for how to support all these different impressions-based currencies. For us, it's really about figuring out how against the audiences that we're going to align on to tally those impressions. And I think working with some big partners to do that has been critical, and making sure, because every advertiser wants to manage their buy both cross-platform, meaning TV to digital, and also cross-publisher, so they can measure us versus other media programmers. And I think we want to make sure that our clients can do that. They can come and deploy their budgets at scale. And we've invested a lot in some data collaboration platforms so partners can come in and plan, activate, and measure and analyze their deals against these advanced segments.
So, you talked about a couple of different flavors of programmatic, if you will. You talked about PMPs, you talked about PG. There's a debate that happens at some events where inevitably one person who works in the digital space is like, there's going to be a day where all TV inventory is bought programmatically. And then you have other people who are like, that is never going to happen. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
Yeah. So, I think there are a couple of things that I think are true around, I think our consumers will find their way to watch content, however they want to watch content. And we've seen that with streaming and the explosion of use on services like Pluto TV and Paramount Plus, that our viewers are finding their way to connected TV. And with connected TV, you have the ability to start to automate and serve things. And then the other thing is that anything that can be automated will. And I think our advertisers want to automate and find ways to efficiently manage their buys and manage frequency. And with that, I think we do think, I think that programmatic is going to be the majority of the way things are transacted in streaming. I think the big challenge right now is making sure that we can still do that in a fashion that allows us to deliver TV quality ad breaks. Some of the boring stuff that is maybe back office is now kind of front and center in these conversations, making sure we can do things like competitive separation. Because if in a single ad break, if you have a reserve deal and a PMP and maybe an inventory share with one of your distributors, we got to make sure that those ads aren't colliding with each other and have 4 auto ads run together. So that's a tall order when you have programmatic enabled. And I think we've made huge strides. We've invested in some technology at Paramount called Conduit that allows us to integrate all of those different pipes to make sure that we can resolve and have competitive separation regardless of which transaction lane is coming through. So if an auto ad comes through from an inventory share, we're not going to serve an auto ad from a PMP. And making sure that we can do that is really front and center in every conversation we're having with our buyers in this upfront cycle.
So yeah, you talked a lot about complexity and sort of just even the complexity that could be inherent in one single ad pod. But then also if you layer kind of the multi-currency conversation into that, it gets even more complex. So can you just talk about what your team's experience has been like sort of in the midst of this most recent upfront with multiple currencies and programmatic, and sort of using the Conduit platform that you guys have built?
Yeah, so I think when clients are coming to us with programmatic asks in the upfront, one of the big things is just resolving the real-time nature of programmatic with the futures nature of the upfront, where it's a planned reservation in the future. And I think our partners have challenged us to evolve there. And I think we've leaned in, and I think we've figured out ways to make it so that the investments are still, keep the spirit of the upfront intact, which is, a partnership around that's based on predictability, but then bringing in some of the benefits of programmatic to allow increased decisioning and allow for clients to manage frequency. And I think that's been a big piece of reconciling that. In terms of multiple currencies, I think having us align around a couple of these that we support and making sure that we can actually start to bring in some cross-platform reach and frequency measurement supported by partners like VideoAmp and ComScore and iSpot, and making sure that we can do that. That's been a big piece of our kind of convergent sale to bring TV together with streaming and bring that to market.